Good morning and happy Wednesday. We are continuing with our reflections on Hebrews 9:27, which has been about death and judgment. It's pointed to a person who wants to die and after that to face judgment. So on Monday, I talked a bit about our cultural take on death and talked about how we try to not think about it. There's a lot of denial. And then just a little bit about judgment. And then yesterday, we looked more at the idea of judgment and explored sort of the first pushback on this. And that comes out of the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 7. So Sermon on the Mount is the most famous sermon preached by Jesus, found in Matthew 5, 6, and 7. There's a similar kind of account found in Luke's Gospel, Luke chapter 6. Probably the Sermon on the Mount was Jesus's keynote address. He gave it over and over and over. And the Sermon on the Plain, Luke 6, and the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5 through 7, probably just different recordings of a similar address given at different times. But it is Jesus's interpretation of the law. And so there is a statement, judge not, lest you be judged. And I said, this is something that everybody seems to pick up on today. It's everybody's favorite verse. And I said, well, it needs to be understood in its context. It's not just a way to silence anybody that criticizes any judgments we're making. We have to make judgments all the time. But the call is to make just judgments and gracious judgments in how we treat other people. We want to treat others the way we want to be treated. It's the golden rule. We don't want to treat others the way we don't want to be treated. Sort of an interpretation on the silver rule. But anyway, so we looked at that and I tried to dispense with the idea that judgment is not something that is part of life or the Christian life. The second way that we sort of see the idea of judgment attacked or undermined is by those that would suggest it's contrary to the gospel. So we are saved by grace through faith, not of ourselves, not as a result of our efforts or our work. We can't boast about this. And so there's some that would say, look, what we do doesn't matter. Our works don't matter. Works don't matter. Well, there's a sense in which this is true. We are saved on the basis of, not on the basis of our works. No, we're saved on the basis of works. It's Christ's work on the cross, Christ's substitutionary death in our place. So the great transfer, 2 Corinthians 5:21 talks about the fact that when we come to faith in Christ, we are giving him, we transfer our sin to his account. He transfers his righteousness to our account. And so we are saved by works. It's just not our works. It's an alien righteousness. It comes to us through Christ. So works count, but not our works. However, that is for us to enter into a relationship with God. That doesn't speak about our eternal reward. And so there's a number of places where it is quite clear that we are going to be held accountable for what we do. Every thought, word, and deed. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 12, it says, now, if any person builds upon the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, builds upon the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw. Each person's work will become evident, for the day will show it, because it is to be revealed with fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each person's work. If any man's work which he has built upon remains, he shall receive a reward. If any person's work is burned up, they shall suffer loss, but they themselves shall be saved, yet through the fire. So, look, we are going to be held accountable for everything we do and don't do, for everything we say and don't say, for everything we think and don't think. We are accountable. We will be judged by a perfect judge. And our reward in heaven or punishment in hell is based on how we live. Now, if you think about this, there's a part of you that should say, yes, I like the idea of judgment because I see bad people getting away with bad things. And I want to think that there is a just, all-knowing judge who will hold them accountable. And I see good people, or, good in parentheses or quotation marks. I see people trying. I see people getting pushed down. I see people not getting a break. And I want them I want that all to be factored into who they are and how God judges their life. And so the good news is, yes, there is a just judge, an all-knowing, perfect judge. But this ought to also, if you feel like, yeah, I want there to be judgment, I want there to be a just judge because I want what I deserve, I would suggest that you need to do more reflection on the Sermon on the Mount, because if you think about it, I don't want justice. I desperately want mercy and I want grace, because I see the older I get, the more how broken I am, how even my best intentions are flawed and skewed by my pride and by my sin. So we'll continue to think about judgment tomorrow. See you then.